I've been running cold email campaigns for the past 6 years, and during that time, I've picked up a few tips and tricks to increase my conversion rate by over 300% on cold emails. I've used this exact system on new businesses, old businesses, and a ton of niches in between. So in this video, we're gonna break down exactly how to create extremely high converting cold email campaigns so that you can do the exact same thing for your business. Let's talk about high quality leads. Leads really are the lifeblood of any cold email system. And so if you don't have quality ones, there's really no point to ever pressing send on any cold emails for that matter. And so what we're gonna do is we wanna look at your ICP. And what we wanna do is we wanna match that up to attributes about the client that are going to make them a good fit. Ideally, we can take this person or this company through some sort of a transformation with our service that we're offering. So with that in mind, we wanna start to be mindful about who is going to make the best clients for us and who will get the most value out of our service. There's a few different places that you can get leads. Of course, you go to a leads broker and order a big list of leads. You could also go to a networking event if you have that kind of free time on your hands. Or like what we're gonna be doing today, we're gonna be using Instant Leads Lead Finder to find leads for our business. I'm a big believer that context is everything. So for the sake of this video, I created a fake service brand called Prodigy Path. And it's basically to help product managers think more strategically with a consulting offer from product managers from the biggest tech companies out there. Equip your team of product managers to operate at their highest potential with direct mentorship from the world's best product design from Airbnb, Zoom, Vidyard, Loom, and there's even a little quote down here that Beehive used Prodigy Path and we're now shipping features 47% faster. It's a offer that really does help product designers, product managers, maybe even chief product officers. That's now a title at a lot of tech companies. And so that gives us sort of an idea of who is going to be a fit for this offer. Now, when I'm setting this up for myself, I like to get really organized first. So I'll go ahead and create a micro segment planning sheet. Now this can pull leads from various sources, but what I really like to do is set up an environment where I can remember exactly what type of avatar I grabbed, what I said in the copy, where the leads came from, and then look at the total reply and total positive reply rates from each of my campaigns. And so it's a place that I can start to think of what I really want to do before I take action and make sure that I measure twice and cut once when it comes to these campaigns. The other thing that's really helpful for is remembering what you gathered when it came to getting your lead set up. So first things first, let's dive into the leads finder here. I'll start here with United States. We will go to industries, and like I mentioned from this example, a lot of tech companies, so internet companies would be probably a pretty darn good place to start. So let's go ahead and search industries for internet. So software and internet. So job titles, we can do, let's just call it a chief product officer. They are going to manage a lot of product designers and product owners. And so let's go ahead and look at that. Open Force, these all look pretty good. We can also just look directly at product managers too. That could be a good one. Now within that too, there's actually a neat little filter here, but you can go to management levels underneath of these and go VP level, director level, and then even C level of this as well. And so C level is really good for a lot of these. Manager level, staff. So we definitely want someone who has a little bit of say, ideally a decision maker. Now in this case, we have about 2,000 results. That's not bad. I'd like to see a little bit more if possible once we get these clean and refined down to exactly who we want to target. So what if we remove the big ones? Technologies, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can actually do here that would be pretty helpful. Let's go in here and take a quick look at these companies. I think it's a really good idea to do a lot of looking around. Once you get a subset here of filters, you can go ahead and just say, okay, great, let's look at who these people are. So if Viking Cloud is an example, what is Viking Cloud? Is this even someone that's worth reaching out to or is a good fit for our offer? And for a lot of these, it seems like they would be if they have their own product. So like Stack Commerce, I think this would be a pretty good one where content meets commerce. They have a product that they help implement. A lot of this would be pretty good. For this ICP, for what we're selling, we wouldn't want to get down the path of helping other service providers. We'd want to help people who do have a tech product. So what I'm going to do is refine this a little bit and see if I can't find different industries that are a good fit for what I'm looking to do. Let's dive into our industry here. Again, job titles, revenue, informational technology and services, internet, and we want to get away from development companies, ideally Apple app developers. So this isn't quite what we want. You have to be very careful, especially using a tool like this, unless you're using databases, Catalyst databases, where we can find where people exist every day in this niche. There's a bit of a mix of both here, actually. So if we find one like this cybersecurity company, we can say, okay, they are software and internet. Once you have the list of leads that you're ready to target, I always think it's a really good idea idea to document what exactly you pulled, because say you got a fantastic response rate, you're gonna wanna make sure that you remember exactly what those leads were. So I'll write all those down on a sheet that looks just like this. Ultimately, the more you measure, the more you improve. Keep track of everything so that you remember what worked and what didn't. If you like the list of leads, you'll go to this button here under name and you'll do select all results and you'll click add to campaign and then go ahead and create your campaign name to move on to the next step. Now, if you want a pro tip, the way that I would probably gather the leads for a campaign like this is I would find other places where these prospects are active. I call this a catalyst database. They're not just existing on a database somewhere. They're out in the real world having conversations or going to conferences, events. Here's a great example of an event out of San Francisco, the CTO Connection. If you go to content, you can see here that there's an entire video library of a bunch of places that really awesome people within tech companies have done speaking engagements. And there's 63 pages of different people who have given their take on a certain topic within their niche. This can be a really valuable way to connect with people and reference their topic in the cold email. By having these all manually gathered, it can go the extra mile that maybe you only send to 500 leads or 300 leads, but you get a lot better response rates when you're dealing with someone that actually did something or said something, and you can reference it and build a lot stronger of a connection in the cold email. For the sake of this video, we'll go ahead and use the leads that we found right here inside Instantly. Now on our micro segment planning sheet, we're gonna move on to copy. Now, copy is so important because your prospect gets tons of cold emails every single day. If your email is too long, honestly, they're only gonna read the first 1 or 2 sentences of it and toss that thing in the trash or mark it as spam. They're not gonna sit around and read too much from you. And so this 5-sentence framework has worked extremely well to get in the inbox and of course get responses. We really wanna personalize the opening. So a compliment or a congratulatory line that goes a long way. We wanna have some sort of a problem statement. So what is a problem that they're having? We wanna call that out. A little bit of a pro tip here for you marketers is that if you can express a problem to a client as good or if not better than they understand it, they'll automatically think that you have the solution without you even needing to say that. Next, we'll wanna expose an implication of the problem. So what happens if they go on forever without fixing this? We can go as deep or as shallow as you want with this. Next, we wanna show them our offer. How are we going to solve that problem that you just showed them? Finally, we wanna have a really clean and tidy, low friction call to action, inviting them into our world, allowing them to become a hand raiser or somebody who's just interested in hearing a little bit more information from you. For the example copy that I wrote, let's pretend that I'm writing an email to Trevin here, who's the Chief Product Officer at Big Cartel. Here's the email, subject line, checking in. Hi Trevin, I'm in touch because I'm a fan of the product. I'm not sure how involved you are in the day-to-day, but love the concept of the interface. Now this, by the way, you get bonus points if this is personalized. In this case, when we're doing the mass email stuff, can't personalize it quite as much unless we start doing a little bit of prompting. Now, the problem statement is a lot of product-centric companies can feel like they're flying blind when it comes to rapidly shipping new features. Lack of clarity can certainly slow things down. Don't ask me how I know, LOL. Notice I'm using copy here that sounds like it might be a text message or something a little more relaxed. When people get an email, you gotta remember, you're still a human and humans wanna talk to other humans. So if you're the kind of person that sounds a little more approachable, depending on your industry, this can go a super long way to where they kind of take down that sales wall of like, oh, there's another person trying to sell me, because they're just sounding like maybe they've been there and done that before and they sound like a pretty chill person. Now let's dive into our offer. At Prodigy Path, we pair up with the world's best product designers from Airbnb, Zoom, Vinyard, and others to personally mentor your product managers. Mind if I share more info on how this could look for your team? We don't want to overcomplicate that call to action. It needs to be extremely, extremely simple. Now, I promised you guys I would show you how the AI personalization stuff works. So let's make sure that we're actually doing that in this campaign. So we've got my leads here on a sample campaign. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head over to AI prompts. This is a pretty sweet little deal, but we wanna use this for our custom first line. So there's one here that's called a general unique opening sentence. We can do website or LinkedIn here. Let's go to their Twitter, LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn. Let's go ahead and try this where we're gonna create some sort of a personalized line here, and we're going to do this for all leads and give it some time to go ahead and do it. You'll notice on the far right-hand side here that a new column gets created within your leads tab. This is where your personalized lines are going to show up. Once these appear, you can go ahead and take a look at them, edit them a little bit if you feel like they weren't just perfect, or you can just make sure that a good chunk of them, say check the first 20. If those look good, let this thing rip. Now, if you did go the route of finding a Catalyst database like this one, it takes 7 contact points before a prospect becomes a client. And so follow-up is a really big deal. Most people don't really do follow-up correctly because you have to remember there's a time and a place for prospects to answer your email. And so by following up better and more consistently, you're going to reach your prospect on a different angle at a different time of day, and you're going to beat out a lot of your competition who just doesn't know how to follow up like you. You do, however, want to schedule your emails at least a few days apart so you don't feel like you're spamming your prospect. That's the last thing that you want to do, is for them to receive a bunch of emails all at the same time or day. Remember, the long game here always wins. Now, in your follow-up email, you can do things like reframe your offer or give a better offer, or of course, you can do the final thing, which is request for a different contact within the company who may be a better fit to work with you. So here's an example follow-up from the email that you've already seen. Subject line, checking in. Did you get a chance to see this question mark? We helped Beehive ship their new features 43% faster using our process. Christina Summers, former CPO at Attentive, was a huge help in the mentorship process. Could this be helpful? Throwing in a new angle, a bit of a case study there, and just simply asking if that result could be helpful is not a bad follow-up idea, but we can throw in a variation of those over time to get a lot better results. And that is how you create a cold email campaign that converts like crazy. Creating a robust cold email campaign is essential to grow any business, but it is so much more than that. Click here to learn the system that I learned that can grow any business. I'll see you in the next one.